I'm going to go ahead and start. Again, my name is Suri Deitch, and I'm Dean of the School of Professional Advancement. Um, Thanks to those who have put their names and where they're calling in from and the program of interest into the chat box. And if the rest of you are able to go ahead and do that, and if you're able to put your video on, that's great. But if you can't, we completely understand. I'm joined by my colleagues, Ann Conlin, who will be helping us with the slideshow, and Sheila Gold, who is Executive Director of Recruitment and Admissions at SoPA. So we are so appreciative of you taking time to be with us this evening, whether it's at the end of your day or somewhere more in the middle. For those who are not in New Orleans, this is a great opportunity to learn about SoPA, as we call it, a little bit about our graduate degrees, master's degrees, and certificate programs, about our admissions process, but also to get a little bit of an orientation to the school and our values. And the fact that I'm dean of the school and I participate in these sessions is one indication of the kind of school we are and the kind of scale we have, and our values. So access, high degrees of interaction, both online and on campus in New Orleans, responsiveness, small scale classes, building relationships with your peers and with faculty, high degrees of diversity of every kind, including racial, but also ideological, age, socioeconomic, all of that. And these are things that are really important to us, and that we try to communicate some through sessions like the one today. So again, if you're able to put your name and where you're calling in from and the program you're interested in the chat box, that's great. I'll go ahead and start with a presentation. At any point, you should feel free to put questions or comments into the chat box, but we'll also make sure to take a moment at the end to see if people have any questions that have been that we haven't addressed. I'll just say that this is a general overview of the school and our graduate programs, but we have program specific sessions where you can meet faculty and advisors and learn more about individual program curricula and career paths and those important things. And I'm sure if you're getting communications from us, that you're hearing about those sessions as well. So just to start out, the School of Professional Advancement is the most current iteration of a long-time commitment at Tulane University to offering applied learning that is relevant to the workplace and educating working adults. So applied learning goes all the way back to the founding of the university as the Medical College of Louisiana in 1834. The school was founded to address issues around tropical diseases. And Tulane University, as it soon as it grew, first started with a medical school, then a law school, and then the third college created at the university was actually our predecessor, which was a school to prepare young white men at that point for study in the professions. And so again, we have a long history of educating working adults. We started offering courses for teachers in the 1880s. And again, we're proud of that history, but we're proud to do the same kind of work in a 21st century fashion. So in the next slide, we just lay out a little bit about how this session is going to be structured. I'm going to talk initially about online education and how the special way that we do it. which we think is especially valuable for our students. I'll touch on our programs and faculty, as well as advisement and career support, and then hand things off to my colleague Sheila, who will talk about important things like tuition, financial aid, the admissions cycle and deadlines. And I'll just say that, you know, all of this is within the context of Tulane University, which is, you know, a world-renowned research one university that, you know, like I said, is rooted in applied learning and relevance to the workplace, but also prestigious and well-known, and has value for, you know, has value for those who have the affiliation throughout their careers. So the next slide gives a little bit of information about how we approach online education. You know, at this point in the pandemic, many people who didn't have experience with online education now do. Every institution, regardless of sort of where they were at in 2020, is educating students online, for better or for worse. We've been doing it for a long time, and we have an approach that we've developed over time that we feel is especially effective. So to go back to what I said a little bit at the beginning, it's highly interactive. It is multimedia. It takes advantage of all the things that you can do through online learning that are much harder to do in a traditional classroom. It combines what we call synchronous learning, which is like the session that we're doing right now, with asynchronous, which means work that you do on your own time. Our classes are split up into modules that correspond generally with 1 week, sometimes with 2. In every module, there is an interactive component where you are meeting with your classmates and your professor, maybe having a guest speaker or a discussion or a peer review of work for the course, maybe a discussion board where people are posting responses to prompts or materials that you've read or seen, and then commenting on one another's thoughts about the material. And, you know, we're able, using that method where you typically are meeting synchronously during the semester between 4 and 6 times to maximize the value of the online format, but also to, you know, build relationships, to create interaction. And you know, a lot of online learning at this point is I guess what I would call kind of like a commodity, like something that you sort of buy off the shelf, where there's not a lot of interaction. You may not even really know who your professor is. You may not even know necessarily who's grading your work or who to go to if you have challenges. We are the opposite. And we're really proud of the model we have developed. So in the next slide, we have some of the metrics that we use to like quantify how we do online instruction, in terms of how many faculty are trained to teach online and who are consistently getting support through professional development. We actually have weekly seminars for our faculty to help them continue to improve how they teach online. A lot of students who have gone through our courses and programs, many hours, many programs, as you can see in the lower right-hand corner of the slide. And then all of that backed up by industry certifications, by rankings of some of our programs in national databases of high quality programs, and again, a lot of support to make sure that you get the best possible experience. So that is SoPA and online. We also are proud of our faculty. The faculty is a combination of about 40 full-time faculty, professors of practice, most of whom have experience in industry, many of whom have come from other universities to be part of our school, where we are always thinking about how to do our work better, where we're always thinking about industry needs and student needs and how our academic programs can be responsive. And actually, Tyra Mitchell and Ralph Russo, who are on the screen, are two great examples of our full-time faculty. Tyra teaches in our kinesiology, health and wellness and sports studies programs, and is a former chief physical therapist at Ochsner Medical System, which is the largest healthcare provider in the state of Louisiana. Ralph Russo leads our information technology and cybersecurity programs. Ralph is a former New York City police officer who has a background in counterterrorism work and cybersecurity, and also a serial entrepreneur who has founded and sold several information technology companies. Both of them are on our full-time faculty. They are available to students. They get to know you throughout your program, and even work with you after you graduate. And then on the left-hand side of the screen, we have two examples of folks who are on our adjunct faculty. So 40 full-time faculty, about 200 adjunct faculty, pretty much all of whom are working day jobs in their industries. In the case of Ashley and Derek, both of them actually in public sector work, different kinds of public sector work, and they teach at SoPA because they love to have opportunities to share their knowledge. And so they're bringing to their coursework with you real world examples and contexts for the curriculum, and their professional networks as well. So that's our faculty. On the next slide, we have a list of all our master's degrees. So Master of Science degrees in a number of fields, a Master of Liberal Arts, a Master of Public Administration, and the Master of Professional Studies, which is the degree that we offer in our Emergency and Security Studies programs. So each of these is a master's degree, typically, between 11 and 13 courses. And in the next slide, we have a list of all of our graduate certificate programs. So I guess, so each of these certificate programs, with one exception, is 4 courses. In every instance, the coursework in the certificate program can be applied toward a master's degree. So the admissions standards and the admissions process for getting into the certificate program is the same as the process for getting into the master's degree. And so if you start the certificate program and you decide that you want to continue, you can seamlessly transition into the master's degree. And if you go into the master's degree, you can earn the certificate programs while you are going through the master's degree. The one exception to that, what we call stackability, is the Cyber Technology Fundamentals program, which is 6 courses in information technology that are focused on helping people who don't have a background in IT or computer science, whether professional or academic, transition into careers in technology fields. So those are our graduate certificates. And like I said, you can participate in these sessions in our program specific areas and learn more about those individual curricula. And then we also have what we call post-baccalaureate certificate programs, which means that you can take courses that will help you advance in your career in a specific field of study. But they're not at the graduate level. They're actually courses that are drawn from our bachelor's degrees. But in order to enroll in the post-baccalaureate certificate, you must have already earned an undergraduate degree. And those are typically in teacher education and graphic design. And then we also have one in the paralegal field. So it's a very quick list of our programs. I'm going to talk next about the ways in which we support students outside of coursework. One is through credit for prior learning. So what that means is that if you are coming to SoPA with a significant professional background, volunteer background, or significant training in an area related to the master's degree that you're seeking to study, we have various ways in which you can get advanced standing and credit toward the master's degree so that you can go advance more quickly through the program. In some cases, these are special arrangements that we have for specific fields of study with professional associations, such as the National League of Cities for Public Administration, or the Homeland Security Institute of the National Guard for security management and Homeland Security. But we also have what's called portfolio assessment, where our faculty will work with you to match your professional or educational background with the specific content of individual courses in the master's degree. You document your experience through what's called a portfolio. The faculty of the program grade your portfolio and then award you credit. And you can actually get up to 6 credits or 2 courses toward a master's degree with portfolio assessment. So, you can get up to, 20% of the way toward a master's degree through this process. Next, I'll tell you a little bit more about student advisement and career advisement. So, first of all, I think one of the most important components and one of the things that is most attractive to our students is, again, the relationship building with faculty, the mentoring that faculty provide, the development of professional networks, the access to jobs and internships and connections that will help you throughout your career. But each SoPA student also has an assigned academic advisor who is there to help you map out your plan for taking courses. Typically our students are working or raising children or whatever else they might be doing. They're taking 2 or 3 courses at a time. Sometimes they're taking less, sometimes they're taking more, but they're typically finishing the master's degree in about 2 years. It's a lot of work, and it requires planning and figuring out how to fit it in with everything else that you need to do. Sometimes issues come up. We have students who are, in the military and get deployed, or need to go respond to a natural disaster, or who leave a job or take a job or have a child go away to college. And our advisors and faculty will do everything they possibly can to work with you so that whatever challenges come up, you can stay on track toward earning your certificate or your degree. We always say that we will do everything we possibly can to create the circumstances where you can do your best academic work. And that means a lot of flexibility, a lot of responsiveness, and a lot of communication with you throughout your academic career. We also have a dedicated career advisor at the school who specializes in working with students who have work histories or who have backgrounds that they're seeking to translate into new opportunities and new careers. That means panels of professionals from the field who you can meet while you're in your program. It means individual consultations to help you build your resume or create your LinkedIn profile or whatever you might need to be ready for your next interviews, for your next opportunities. And then, of course, as a member of the Tulane community, you have permanent access to opportunities for networking and learning about jobs, and also building relationships and community wherever you are in the United States or across the world, because the Tulane community is national and multinational. So with that, I will hand things off to my colleague Sheila to talk more about SoPA and our admissions process. Thank you.
Thanks, Suri. And let me just welcome everybody again. We really appreciate you spending your time with us today. I always tell students that we love our school and we love to talk about our programs. So for us, this is really fun, and we always feel honored when people want to hear about it. So next slide, please. A little bit of information about affordability of SoPA. So we are very aware that education is a commitment of time and money, of resources. And so we like to be very clear with students about how much our school costs and what we do to help support our students. So each of our courses is 3 credit hours, and at the graduate level, each credit hour is $1,158. So we like to tell students that we apply very few fees on top of our tuition rate. We know that students compare schools, as you should. You're savvy consumers. When doing so, please take into account both tuition and fees. There are many schools where when you add in the fees, it could almost double the tuition rate. We are very deliberate about that not being the case at SoPA. So the majority of what you pay is just tuition. We do have other ways that students get financial assistance. We tell all students to fill out the FAFSA form, which is the federal form for financial aid. That is how you will be eligible for grants and loans, federal grants and loans. We are also very proudly a yellow ribbon school. In addition, we offer several 20% tuition discounts for certain types of students. So if you are active duty military or a veteran, if you are an active or retired safety personnel, first responder, we also offer a 20% discount. If you have received a degree from a minority serving institution like an HBCU, we also offer a 20% discount. And also, if you are a member of Phi Theta Kappa, we offer a 20% discount towards graduate and undergraduate degrees. I also like to add that the slide before this, or 2 before this, talked about our credit for prior learning program. That is another way that you can save not only time, because you won't have to take those 2 classes, but also some tuition as well. So if that is an opportunity for you to get credit for 2 classes, certainly look into and reach out to your advisor about that. Next slide. So we find that our application process, we're intentional about making it simple, although we do find that students have questions along the way. We like to let our students know that we want to hear from you if you have questions. We want to be as transparent as possible through this process, but we're also very much here to help you. We like it when students reach out to us. We philosophically believe that one of the things that we do at SoPA is we create relationships with our students, and that starts in the admissions process. So don't be shy. We like to hear from you. Our application is an electronic application. It lives on our website, sopa.tulane.edu. That address is on the bottom of this slide. You'll see a big button at the top of the page that says apply. Go ahead and click on that, and it will open you up to the application portal. You will, if you're applying for graduate programs, please select our graduate application, and then you'll need to supply several pieces of information. You will need to upload a government ID, a valid government ID. For most folks, that's a picture of your driver's license. You could take a picture with your phone, upload the image. You could also use a passport image if that's easier. We will need transcripts from any school from which you've received college credits. You can send those to us both electronically or through the US mail, and those addresses are on the application. So you'll have directions of how to send those. We'll also, for many of our programs, need your resume. And then many of our graduate applications also require a written portion to be submitted. There will be some short answers and possibly a longer written statement. We like to let students to tell you those written statements, please take those seriously. They're very important for two reasons. The content of your answers is important to our faculty because they're interested in knowing your answers to those particular questions, but they're also looking to see your quality of writing. So take your time, make sure that you do all the things, proof your paper, make sure that your punctuation and spelling is correct, all of those things. And then mostly we like to let students know, this is a bit of good news, we do not require the GRE for any of our graduate programs. We do not find that that's a valid indicator of success in our programs. And so students like to hear that and usually generally feel relieved that we don't require that. So some application deadlines to keep in mind is we have 3 starts a year. We have the traditional fall start. We also have a spring start, which is in January, and then we have a summer start. So depending on when you're interested in starting your graduate studies, you have some options along the way. We do have deadlines for fall. It's August 1st. For spring, it's January 1, and for summer, it's May 1. Just because those are our deadlines, please don't feel like you have to wait until those deadlines. We read applications on a rolling basis. So when your application is complete, we will review it and give you an admissions decision. We also encourage our students to apply early and register for classes early by offering a one-time early registration scholarship. So those dates for the early registration scholarships are below. Our next term is the fall term. That deadline for early scholarship was June 1, so that is passed. But the term after that is spring, which is a January 1 deadline. But if you apply early and register for classes by December 1st, you will receive $500 off your first semester's tuition. And then summer, if you're thinking ahead to the summer term, if you apply and register for classes by April 25th, you will also receive that scholarship. If you're thinking about next fall, once again, get your application in, and if you register by next June 1, you'll receive that scholarship. It's just an easy way to get a little bit of financial help that first semester, and it's our way of hoping to set you up for success. All right, so those are sort of the nuts and bolts of our application process. But if you have any questions, my contact information is on the screen. Please feel free to email me. There is a phone number, although I always tell students it's faster to email me. I'd love to hear from you, but also if you have any questions right now, feel free to drop them in the chat.
or say them out loud if you prefer. We're happy to hear from you. Well, it was a pleasure to have your company for a little while this evening. We look forward, like Sheila said, to getting to know you as part of the application process. And finally, we're really excited that you were interested enough in Tulane SoPA to come and learn a little bit more about us. And we will definitely be in touch. So I hope everyone has a good rest of your day or evening. Thanks so much.